Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ilyas from the Department of Education, Hazara University, Mansehra. Today I'm going to discuss with you my understanding of the conceptual, theoretical, and analytical frameworks in the context of research and also their interrelationship between these different concepts. So, let's begin with the definition or an initial understanding of the concept of a framework. So, what is a framework? A framework is basically a structure, set, or system of ideas or concepts, especially related to a particular area of study or research that we are interested in. So, let's begin with the first part of the presentation and our understanding of the conceptual framework. The question is, what is a concept? A concept is basically a general idea of something. For example, a reflection in the context of education in general and teacher education, in particular, which was an area of study in my PhD thesis. So this could be a reflection, could be an example of a general idea. And generally speaking, reflection basically means thinking. Similarly, another example of general understanding of a concept is teacher education and teacher training, which are actually taken as synonyms or very similar concepts to each other. So, what is a conceptual framework? A conceptual framework basically is the linking up or association of the main concepts in a particular area of research. For example, reflection is a concept, teacher education is a concept. So, if we want to explore the relationship of reflection in the context of teacher education, there comes a kind of relationship between the reflection and teacher education, and this could be in a simple understanding of a conceptual framework. Um, then the second part of it is the theory and theoretical framework. What is a theory? Before we try to understand theoretical framework, let's first understand a theory. A theory may be defined as a more nuanced, objective, or scientific understanding of a concept or a relationship between concepts or concepts and their auxiliaries. So there may also be theories may also be referred to as models. Theories or models. Some examples of theories or models in with reference to our concept reflection is like John Dewey's theory of reflection or reflective practice. Similarly, Donald A. Shawn's theories of reflection, and Zeichner and Liston's theory of reflection, and similarly Cruikshank's theory of reflection. These are different models or different theories related to a particular concept, and so that concept is basically reflection. But reflection has been looked at and examined and presented in different ways, and so those different ways or those different scientific understandings of those particular concepts becomes theories. Um, and so, theory and theoretical framework. Now, what is a theoretical framework in the context of a research study? Reflection in professional education or teacher education. Uh, so, there are different ways in which reflection is a concept, and then in its theoretical perspective, it has been differently presented and differently given different meanings. So, for example, reflection has been taken as something that concerns with technical or practical classroom teaching, reflective practice in terms of understanding and implementing classroom teaching in a very practical or technical sense. But reflection has also been associated with a focus on a more critical, ideological, socio moral aspects of teaching. So, theoretical framework is could be defined as a set of theories that drive the exploration of research questions, objectives related to main concept in a study. So again, let's say we want to explore the concept of reflection in teacher education. If we apply certain theories when we are applying or when we are interpreting a reflection in teacher education, for example, if we apply the theories of Sean or Dewey's theories, or the theories of Zeichner or Cruikshank, or if we combine a set of these theories to our interpretation of the concept of reflection in teacher education, that will become the theoretical framework of our study. Then the third concept is the analysis or analytical framework. So before understanding the analytical framework of this in this particular context, let's first understand what is analysis. Analysis basically is the breaking down of concepts and theories or empirical data for examination, interpretation, and getting conclusions from that. So theoretical, basically analysis of theories, secondary sources, literature review. Let's say we want to do an analysis of theories. For example, in my study I made analysis of the theories related to reflection, theories that I got from John Dewey or Sean or Cruikshank and many others. So if I'm doing an analysis of those theories, that will be like analysis, the theoretical analysis. While analysis in an empirical sense actually means the primary data that I collected, and then I analyze that data in the light of the theories that I analyzed previously during my literature review. So that will be empirical analysis. And so analysis of primary data, and this actually when I am analyzing the primary data, I am analyzing this during the data analysis process and also during the discussion process and the conclusion section of the research project or thesis. So these are the areas where our analytical framework actually comes into play when we are analyzing other people's theories or when we are analyzing the results of our empirical data. And so analysis and analytical framework, analysis of primary or secondary data, data sources, or methodological choices in the light of theoretical and practical considerations becomes your analytical framework. So you are analyzing your primary or secondary data, you are analyzing the data sources, how to get to data sources and what should be the data sources. Similarly, even when you are doing your methodological choices, or when you are actually thinking about what methods to adopt during your research process, even there you need this analytical framework. So what happens is that during the analytical framework or during the analysis, there is an initial analysis of our data sources, of our literature review as well, and our methodological considerations, and in the beginning of the research process. Then this analysis also is a continuous process, so we continuously analyze our data as it comes through, and then there is a concluding analysis that actually happens during the discussion of our data and our results, and also towards the end of the research process when we are actually concluding or interpreting our data. So in conclusion, what we can say actually is that frameworks are variously defined. Many people have actually defined the conceptual and theoretical framework in terms of like synonyms, but others have defined them differently. Some have also kind of included the analytical framework with the conceptual and theoretical framework. But So overall, these might be, there might be an element of overlapping of these concepts. In my own thinking, I actually consider these from their own individual perspectives, although there is an element of overlapping over there. So inclusion, I also, towards the end of this presentation, I was just thinking of concluding it, and I came to the conclusion that we might also include our methodological considerations in the framework. And so the framework of a research study in general will consist of the conceptual frameworks or the concepts that we are exploring, then the theoretical concepts, the main theories that we are covering in our research, and then the analytical framework in which we are actually analyzing concepts in the light of our theoretical framework, and also our methodological considerations come into play while we are exploring. So overall, we might say that these frameworks may vary in terms of the meaning that are associated with them. They might vary from studies to study. But overall, the aim of frameworks, whether they are conceptual frameworks, analytical frameworks, theoretical frameworks, methodological frameworks, the aim of frameworks is actually giving structure to your thesis or to your research project or to your research paper. And it also gives focus, clarity, and clarity to the research process and to our research questions and objectives. So I hope this might have kind of helped in developing your initial understanding of these very critical, important, and complex concepts. The overall, again, in concluding, I must say that a framework or frameworks are quite important in actually giving direction to your research process, and these gave you the opportunity to think critically, to think logically, and to think clearly, which is something quite important. So I hope you have some questions in your mind. If you have any questions or comments, or if you are thinking differently, because this is not the final thing about frameworks, there are actually different interpretations of these. So please don't shy away from giving your comments and questions in the comment section below this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and for your time. Take care.